Now, I want to jump into the deep water with you. We have a
Okay.
limited time here, and uh, a hun- you've done LSD over 100 times. Over 100 times you've taken
Yes.
LSD. Now, that is an admirable accomplishment for someone who is 25. I think it took me it took me a few more years to reach that number. I wasn't quite, and
Yeah.
there, because there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think part of it is because of where you're at. It's easier to obtain
Hmm.
LSD. Now, look, I'm not going to go old man on you here, but you must understand, y'all are existing in a great time in human history. When I was coming up, there was an LSD drought. I don't know if you ever heard of this. People don't really talk
Really?
about.
Really? No, I didn't
There
know
was an
this.
LSD boom, which was this. There were some people literally in an underground missile silo. These
Yeah, I
hippies
know
were,
that.
yes. So that was just acid everywhere. They were
Oh, wait,
very.
was this around the time when they were like trying to ban it?
This no, this was post prohibition. Prohibition, no, yes. So when the CIA introduces LSD to everybody, they're trying to come up with a mind control drug, and so they're testing it at universities. They give acid to college kids around your age. You know what that's going to do. It's going to make you want
Hmm.
more LSD. This spawns the 60s. You could argue this is part of what sort of informs the 60s. This is kind of what I want to get into with you, but you probably know when you take LSD, your relationship with the material world radically shifts. Stuff that seemed important to
Hmm.
you doesn't seem quite as important anymore. And
Hmm.
so if you're in a government trying to run a capitalist market economy, you're like, don't let the kids take acid. They're not going to
Hmm.
want to go to work. They don't care about money.
Hmm.
They won't want to go to war. Prohibition.
Hmm.
This leads to, it goes underground. And then you get these mysterious LSD chemists who had to be very careful because, and they still do, because it's a 5-year mandatory minimum prison sentence if you get caught with it. And I think that may have changed in some states. I don't know. Anyway, my point is,
Sheesh.
we had a boom and then a bust. And so you couldn't even find acid for a long time. So for you to, when I heard, oh my God, he's taken acid over 100 times, it made me think, wow, he's got some good connections probably. And I bet the acid that you're taking is not bad. I bet it's pretty good.
Well, yeah, I think the thing was, okay, so I'm black, obviously.
Yes.
So, so, in my culture in Atlanta, Georgia, let's say 5 years ago, acid was, no one even knew what it was. Like it was unheard of. Like
Right.
maybe a couple people may have knew what shrooms were, but acid, nobody knew what LSD was. And if you told someone like, "Oh, I'm doing acid," they would look at you like a fucking meth head. Like, "Oh my God, you're
Yeah.
doing acid? You basically that's second to crack." So like, people are really close minded in my community. So it's like, oh, we smoke weed. Some people did, ecstasy, maybe Molly, but acid was unheard of. Until like now. But 2017, when I first started doing it, it was unheard of. You know what I'm saying? So like, um, um, man, I would when I found some people to get it from me, I would buy it in like sheets. So I have hundreds, so I would buy. And at the time, I lived with like 15 of my best friends in this huge house. We had two houses on this property, and it was closed off, and we had this beautiful garden, and it was crazy. And I was so successful that I just like I had a shit ton of money. I was like 19, 20 years old, and I had a lot of off time.
Mm.
So like we were just doing it every week. And I was just learning so much about life and my brain and myself. And I was growing into this man because at the same time I'm transitioning from a boy, a teenager, to a man, and I'm experiencing this shit. And it's just like, and then doing it all these years up until, fucking shit, where we are now. I've just like, it's evolved me into such a person I'm so proud of. It
Yes.
evolved me to being this guy, this man who just views everything in a certain way. And I'm so proud of it because I don't feel like I'm doing. I don't do anything because someone else told me to. I don't think a certain way because it was instilled in my brain at a young age. Like I do everything and think whatever I think based on because I wanted to do it. And I don't know if I would have been that same way all the way if I wasn't to start um, doing LSD.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I can remember having that moment where I was freaked out by the reality that this was something that is illegal. Like I remember, and also when I was in high school, when I was in my teens doing LSD, this was like, pre-internet. There was no ability to sort of research the history of it, what it was, what it's doing to your brain. And so there was a massive propaganda campaign by the US government. And so, they would just tell you if you take this stuff more than 3 times, you will go insane. You will go completely bonkers. And that's what people thought. So same
Mm-hmm.
thing. You had to be very careful about who you told that you were like using this substance, because they didn't
Mm-hmm.
differentiate it from PCP, from heroin, or from any of the like other drugs out there, and they would treat you
Mm-hmm.
differently. But yeah, that was my sort of that was a real interesting moment for me when you realize, like, my God, the US government is actively suppressing something that seems to be really good for you. It's not making me less connected. It's not making me less well, I wasn't productive. I was in high school. I hated it. But you know what I mean? It's
Right.
not driving me nuts. It seems to be making me happier, more connected with the world, and yet it's prohibited. That was a really scary moment. That's a scary thing. To this day, it's still like, why, with so many great reports out there, why? Why is it still illegal? Why isn't it uh, at least rescheduled or something? Did you ever have those thoughts cross your mind?
No, I haven't, but if I think about it, I always just assume it's because it's something the government can't control.
Right.
And when you're able to tap into that side of your brain, it's like I think it's just scary. I think the higher ups want people to stay down, stay feet to the ground,
Right.
stay on the floor, because it's just safest for them.
Right.
And I think a lot of people who don't know anything, I feel like it's a certain type of crowd demographic of people, like just age group and people in certain jobs for career fields, that when they don't know something about something that they've been told is bad, they do no research. They just deem it as that,
Right.
like, oh, it's a drug. That's it. I don't care what it does. No, that's a drug. Drugs are bad. That's it. You know?
Yeah, they put it all in one stupid box. And yeah, I get, you know
hmm
what? If you and I were the head of the Illuminati, which hopefully one day we will be, you know what I mean? I don't know. Would we be like, yeah, let them all take acid. Let them all just get their
Absolutely.
minds blown and merge with the universe, and experience a remission of their egoic tendencies. Who the fuck is going to do this is an old hippie maxim. Who does the dishes? This is like the big question. Who's going to do the dishes? This is to me where psychedelics do sort of, where there could be a problem with psychedelics, which is that because of the gift they give you, freedom from identity or freedom from the little I, the gift
hmm
of your true nature, your birthright, you're part of the universe, you're part of everything. This can cause you to sort of like, or maybe not you, but some people potentially to be like, yeah, so why do I need to like do all the mundane earth realm shit? Like, why? What's the point? I'm going to become a
hmm
hermit. I'm going to go off into the mountains. I'm going to stop working. I'm just going to like try to exist in this place.
But why is that a problem?
Well, the saying, who does the dishes, it came from Tim Leary and Richard Alpert, who are the professors who like got fired for giving acid to their students, and who later went on to become like, psychedelic luminaries. One of them a spiritual
hmm
teacher, Ram Dass. The other one, Tim Leary, the tune in, turn on, drop out guy. But somebody went over to their house after they'd been on an acid bender, probably similar to yours, is what I'm guessing. I've got a feeling, man. I can tell. I see. I don't think I've gone as deep as you've gone with that stuff. Like, there's a place where I'm like, you know what? I'm fine here. I'll stay in the
Yeah,
driveway. You guys go inside.
yeah,
But
yeah.
their tolerance had gotten to the point where they were drinking it. They're drinking it out of, you know how powerful it is, man. Like to just be to take shots of like
Hmm.
liquid LSD is like crazy. So anyway, someone went to their
It's
house.
insane.
Roaches everywhere, bugs everywhere, dishes piled up in the fucking sink. They're like, you know what I mean? They don't care. They have like completely like merged with the universe via this wondrous substance, and that's where the saying came from. And that's why part of being human is we must maintain our like we have to shit, we have to eat, we have to do all of these things that are uh, not exciting. And so, yeah, I think it's all about finding a way to balance those two.
Well, I think as an individual, you should be entitled to doing whatever it is you want to do with your life.
Agreed.
You know, so if you don't want to wash the dishes, I feel like you have your own right to do that in your own personal space.
Sure.
You know, that's why I feel like it should be legal because I feel like who's to tell who what to do, when, and where. You know, if they don't want to wash dishes, if they don't want to go to work or don't want to work for the man or want to live lights out in a trailer somewhere, who's to say they can't do that? You know, I hate when people abuse power. I respect people of power and with power, and I respect having power, but I do not appreciate people who abuse it and tell people what they can and can't do, and because their life and life is so short.
Yes.
You only get so much time on this earth to walk around and enjoy the wonders of life before you die, you know? And I don't, and so I just don't feel it's fair to tell people what they can and can't do with their minimized time on earth.
As co-leader of the Illuminati, I hereby declare LSD is now legal as ordered by Lil Yachty.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, I didn't order that. That's fucking hilarious. That's
That'd be
fucking
amazing if this is how
hilarious.
we had our meetings. Um,
I know that easy.
and it was that easy. You just like, okay, call Klaus Schwab. Yeah, we'll do legal acid, see what happens. Last time we tried that, I guess it made some good music. See what happens.
We'll
So
see. Whatever. Fuck it.